Imagine waking up as the biggest star in sports, the face of a movement that has shattered every record in the book, only to find out the league you just saved might not actually let you step on the court. That is the terrifying reality facing Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese right now. For months, we've heard the whispers about a CBA disaster, but as of this week, the clock has officially hit zero. The deadline has passed, the ink is dry on absolutely nothing, and the WNBA has entered a period of status quo, which is just a fancy legal term for a ticking time bomb. While the headlines are screaming about a potential shutdown, the truth behind the scenes is even more chaotic than you think. Right now, there is no salary cap, there are no official rosters for the 2026 season, and most shockingly, the league's biggest stars are technically operating without the protection of a legal agreement. We aren't just talking about a few missed games, we are looking at a total league-wide blackout that could erase the most successful era in women's sports history before it even reaches its peak. The tension reached a breaking point at midnight on January 9th. While fans were glued to their phones, expecting a last-minute miracle or a done deal notification, the doors to the negotiation room stayed locked. The players' union, led by heavy hitters who aren't afraid of a fight, refused to budge on a deal they claim undervalues the very women who put the WNBA on the map. This isn't just about a few extra dollars in a paycheck. It's a fundamental war over who truly owns the success of this league. On one side, you have the owners, who claim that despite the Caitlin Clark effect, the league is still bleeding cash and isn't ready for the massive raises the players are demanding. On the other side, you have the athletes who are tired of being told to wait their turn, while the stadiums are packed and the TV ratings are exploding. This stalemate has created what insiders are calling a ghost league. Usually this time of year is filled with excitement, trade rumors, and blockbuster signings. But right now, silence. Teams were technically told they could send out qualifying offers to free agents this past Sunday. But here's the kicker. Nobody is signing them. Why would you sign a contract when you don't even know what the league's minimum wage will be in 3 months? It's a game of high-stakes chicken, and the fans are the ones caught in the middle. The players have been blocked, not by a physical wall, but by a legal one. Caitlin Clark, usually the one to keep things professional and focused strictly on the game, finally broke her silence, calling this the biggest moment the WNBA has ever seen. She's pushing for a compromise because she knows better than anyone that the momentum they've built is incredibly fragile. If the fans turn on the league because of a millionaires versus billionaires dispute, that sold-out energy could vanish overnight. But the union is holding firm. With a staggering 98% of players already voting to authorize a strike, the threat of a complete shutdown isn't just a rumor, it's the primary leverage. But why now? Why, when the league is finally making money, are the owners playing such a dangerous game? Rumors have surfaced that several team owners are actually scared of the new power the players have. They've seen how Caitlin and Angel have brought in their own sponsors and their own massive audiences. And the owners are desperate to keep control of the revenue streams. They want to keep the old system where the league dictates the terms, but the players are saying those days are over. They want a piece of the whole pie, not just the crumbs. The status quo period we are in right now is essentially a legal limbo. Under the law, the league has to keep operating under the old rules until a new deal is signed or until one side blows it up with a lockout or a strike. But operating is a strong word. Without a new CBA, the league can't finalize the expansion draft. They can't set the schedule, and they can't even sell jerseys for the new teams. It's a total paralysis. If you think this is just about player salaries, you're missing the bigger picture. This is about the survival of the WNBA as we know it. If the league shuts down for even a month, the financial fallout could be exposed as a billion-dollar mistake. The sponsors are getting nervous, the networks are calling their lawyers, and the players, they're already looking at other options. But the money is only half the story. There's a hidden reason why this negotiation is turning so ugly, and it involves the very thing that was supposed to save the league's future. Because as bad as the 0 hour is, the real war is being fought over a $700 million gap that no one wants to talk about. And what happens next would shock everyone. If you want to understand why the WNBA is currently eating itself alive from the inside out, you have to look at the math the league is desperate to hide. We're talking about a $700 million gap that has turned the negotiation room into a battlefield. On one side, you have the owners crying poor, and on the other, you have players who are tired of being treated like a line item on a budget. But the real shocking truth isn't just about the money. It's about how the league is trying to manipulate the numbers to keep the athletes in their place. It all comes down to two words that sound boring, but are actually the fuse for this entire explosion: net versus gross. The owners have put a proposal on the table that sounds incredible at first glance. They're offering a $1 million maximum base salary and claiming players will receive 70% of the net revenue. But here's where the math gets dirty. In the business world, net means what's left after you pay every single bill. The owners want to take all the money the league makes, the ticket sales, the TV deals, the merchandise, and then subtract the costs for new arenas, marketing, and the very private jets the players fought for. Only after those massive expenses are cleared would the players get their cut. The union has exposed this as a trap, estimating that under this plan, players would actually receive less than 15% of the total money coming in. The players aren't playing that game. Their counteroffer is blunt and powerful. They want 30% of the gross revenue. That's the total money before the owners can touch a single cent for expenses. We're talking about a difference of hundreds of millions of dollars over the next 5 years. To put it simply, the players want to be partners in the league's success, while the owners want to treat them like employees who get the leftovers. This accounting warfare is why the talks didn't just stall. They imploded. And then there's the private jet controversy that has become the ultimate symbol of this divide. For years, the lack of chartered flights was a safety and health nightmare, with star athletes cramped in commercial middle seats on red-eye flights. The league finally caved and started a charter program, but now they're using it as a weapon. During negotiations, owners have reportedly argued that the $25 million annual cost of these flights should be deducted from the players' share of the revenue. Essentially, they're telling the players, we'll give you the luxury, but you're going to pay for it out of your own raises. It's a shocking move that has stars like Breanna Stewart and Nafisa Collier livid. They view travel as a basic workplace requirement, not a perk that should cannibalize their salaries. But while the WNBA is bickering over seat upgrades and net profits, a massive threat has emerged from the shadows that could make this whole CBA irrelevant. Rumors of Project B have moved from whispers to a full-blown alarm. This isn't just another small startup. This is a global 5-on-5 league backed by tech moguls and massive private equity that is reportedly ready to invest billions. The revealed details are enough to make any WNBA owner sweat. Project B is allegedly offering 7-figure salaries and actual equity deals to the top 50 players in the world. The strategy is clear. They are waiting for the WNBA to fail. If the strike actually happens and the 2026 season is offed, Project B is reportedly prepared to swoop in and offer Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and the rest of the league's icons a platform where they aren't just talent, they're owners. This secret league is being described as F1 for basketball, featuring global tournaments with massive paydays that dwarf what the WNBA is offering. It's a poaching mission of historic proportions. This Project B threat has shifted the entire dynamic of the room. The players know they have an exit strategy. They aren't trapped in the WNBA anymore. If the league refuses to pay them what they're worth, they can take their millions of followers and their generational talent to a league that's built for the 21st century. The owners are currently exposed as being behind the curve, clinging to a business model that treats the league like a charity instead of the gold mine it has become. The pressure is reaching a fever pitch. Every day that passes without a deal makes Project B look more like a reality and less like a rumor. The fans are starting to take sides, and the disaster is no longer just a possibility. It's the current state of the game. But as bad as the financial war is, the most shocking part of this shutdown is what it's doing to the cities that were promised a future. Because while the stars are looking at million-dollar offers, 2 entire franchises are currently living in a nightmare where they have everything except the one thing they need: players. While the stars and owners are locked in a room fighting over hundreds of millions, two cities are currently being held hostage by this CBA disaster. The Toronto Tempo and the Portland Fire were supposed to be the symbols of the WNBA's global takeover, the crown jewels of the 2026 expansion. Thousands of fans in Canada and Oregon have already put down hard-earned deposits for season tickets, waiting to see who their new icons will be. But right now, those fans are staring at a ghost league. The expansion draft, which was supposed to happen in December, has been effectively offed. The shocking truth is that Toronto and Portland currently have front offices, massive marketing budgets, and shiny new arenas, but they have zero players. Because the rules for the expansion draft are part of the collective bargaining agreement, the league literally cannot hold the draft until a new deal is signed. There are no rules on how many players teams can protect or how many stars the new franchises can take. This has created a logistical nightmare where the two newest teams in the league are paralyzed. If a deal isn't reached soon, these franchises might not even have time to build a roster before training camp in April. Imagine a professional sports team trying to launch a season with only 6 weeks to find an entire roster of players. It's never been done, and it's a recipe for a competitive catastrophe. But the pressure isn't just coming from the expansion cities. The players have already played their most dangerous card, the nuclear option. In a move that sent shockwaves through the league office, the players' union held a vote that resulted in a staggering 98% authorization for a strike. Let that sink in. Nearly every single player in the league has given their leadership the power to pull the plug on the 2026 season at any moment. This isn't just a threat or a negotiation tactic. It's a legal reality. Under the current status quo rules, the players could theoretically decide to walk out tomorrow morning with zero advance notice. The league, for its part, has claimed they aren't planning a lockout, but that's like saying you aren't planning to fight while you're standing in a boxing ring. The tension is so thick you could cut it with a knife. The union has even gone as far as setting up player hubs, private, elite training facilities in places like Stanford and UNLV, so that stars like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese have a place to stay in top shape if they are barred from team facilities. They are literally building a shadow league, just in case the WNBA goes dark. It's a level of preparation for a work stoppage that we've never seen in women's sports history. So, the question everyone is asking is simple. Will the 2026 season actually happen? If you look at the exposed facts, the answer is a complicated maybe. Both sides have publicly stated they believe a season will be played, but we are running out of runway. Every day that passes without a CBA is a day that the schedule isn't being made. Arenas in major cities are already starting to give away WNBA dates to concerts and other events because they can't wait forever for a maybe schedule. If the league doesn't have a deal by March, they won't just be facing a delay. They'll be facing a total collapse of the 2026 calendar. The most revealed danger is the loss of momentum. The WNBA is currently the hottest ticket in sports, but fans are notoriously fickle. If the stars aren't on the court because they're arguing over revenue percentages, the audience might just move on to the next big thing. We saw it happen to Major League Baseball in the 90s, and it took them a decade to recover. Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese have brought the league to the mountaintop, but the owners and the union are currently standing on the edge of a cliff. The final verdict? Expect a war of attrition that lasts until the very last second. We are likely looking at a delayed start to the season or a significantly shortened schedule. The shutdown is already here in spirit. The question is whether the league can wake up from this nightmare before it becomes a permanent blackout. The 2026 season is currently on life support, and the only thing that can save it is a level of compromise that neither side has shown yet. What happens next won't just define the next 5 years. It will decide if the WNBA's golden era was just a beautiful, short-lived dream.